The Substance isn't just a horror film. It's a bold, messy, confrontational work of art that stares directly into the darkest corners of fame, aging, and the impossible standards of beauty that society, and especially Hollywood, imposes on women. It's not easy to watch, but it's impossible to forget. And despite its chaos and gore, it's deeply emotional in its core themes. At the heart of the film is Elizabeth Sparkle, a name that sounds deliberately artificial, like something cooked up by a PR team in the 90s. She's a washed-up actress, once beloved and idolized, now discarded for younger, fresher faces. She's emblematic of a very real, very cruel cycle. Women in the entertainment industry are rewarded for their beauty and punished the moment they begin to age. What the movie does brilliantly is show the psychological violence of that system. Elizabeth's pain isn't just about losing fame, it's about losing her worth in the eyes of the world. Enter The Substance, a supposed miracle, a product that allows someone to extract a perfected, younger version of themselves from their own DNA. In Elizabeth's case, this becomes Sue, a glowing, radiant, idealized version of her. Everything Elizabeth used to be. Everything she wishes she still was. At first, Sue is like a breath of fresh air. Elizabeth watches her succeed, charm people, and regain everything she thought she had lost. But that high is short-lived. What begins as admiration quickly turns to jealousy, fear, and horror as Sue starts to overtake her. Not just in public life, but emotionally and physically. What's fascinating and disturbing is how the film uses body horror to externalize inner emotional states. Elizabeth's breakdown isn't just psychological. Her body becomes a site of decay and distortion, mirroring her emotional unraveling. Her deterioration is gruesome, but metaphorically, it's about being replaced, becoming invisible, and being haunted by the shadow of your younger self. Now, the way the film is shot is part of its message. The cinematography doesn't just frame Sue beautifully. It fetishizes her. It indulges in long, lingering shots of her body, mimicking the way women have been visually consumed by media for decades. But that indulgence is never meant to flatter the viewer. It's there to make you question it, to make you feel that unease. Why are we watching her like this? Why is this framing familiar? Why are we complicit in this gaze? That self-awareness makes the film incredibly uncomfortable in a very intentional way. It's not just showing the male gaze, it's deconstructing it. And as Elizabeth becomes more monstrous and desperate, the film gets even more surreal. The world around her begins to feel dreamlike or nightmarish. The set design, the lighting, the costuming. It all feels stuck out of time. There's a deliberate clash of eras, 80s aesthetics, 90s decor, modern technology. It's like Elizabeth is living in a warped memory of Hollywood, a world built on nostalgia, with no stable present. This disjointed world mirrors her mental state, lost between who she was and who she can never be again. But let's talk about the ending, because for all the film's strengths, I think this is where it misses a huge opportunity. The final act descends into full-blown madness. Elizabeth's body is falling apart. Sue is rising to power, and all the themes of identity, insecurity, the hunger for validation explode into grotesque imagery and psychological breakdown. It's dramatic, it's wild, and it's definitely unforgettable. But it's also hollow. There's no real closure, no catharsis. Elizabeth spirals and collapses under the weight of her own obsession, and then it ends. And maybe that's the point, to leave us in the wreckage. But it felt like the film set up something more profound and then backed away from it at the last moment. Personally, I would have loved to see a more layered ending, one that reflects the cycle of this obsession, rather than just the destruction it causes. Imagine this. Instead of ending with Elizabeth's total collapse, what if she survived? Scarred, broken but still standing. And in the final scene, she approaches a young woman, a stranger, and quietly hands her a flash drive. Just like how Elizabeth got it. No words, just a knowing look. That ending would have changed everything. It would have transformed Elizabeth from a victim to a cautionary figure. It would have suggested that this horror doesn't stop. It just moves on to the next person. It would have closed the loop and opened a whole new set of questions about how these ideals get passed down, woman to woman, generation to generation. Not just through the media, but through personal choices, through desperation, through legacy. And most importantly, it would have left us thinking, what would I do if I were handed that flash drive? Even if it didn't end the way I hoped, it made me feel something and think about it long after it was over. That's what great horror should do. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next one, and see you later.